Great morning, great morning, great morning. Come on in, you guys. Let me turn it on, do not disturb. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Let me go ahead and share. Great morning. Great morning, great morning. Hey, April. Hey, Eveline. Hey, Christina. Hey, Jackie. Oh, we got Texas, Alabama, North Carolina, Kentucky, all on the line, y'all. Let me know who's here and where you're tuning in from. Those I know, okay? Those I know, but let me know who's here and where you're tuning in from. And we're going to get ready to get started because, baby, I'm about to help some folks today because I just helped me. I'm so thankful to God because He will literally order my steps and tell me where to go, what to say, and what to pay attention to. And so I'm gonna see if y'all have made some connections that I've made, and then hopefully this live will help you understand what's going on with you right now. Okay, so make sure you go ahead and share. And while y'all are sharing, I'm gonna share. So let me get to a place where I can share. Okay. All right, I have shared. Okay. So you guys, listen. I was trying to understand some stuff that was going on with me. And when I tell you that this morning, like God brought it all together, He brought it all together. Hey, Corey. Yes, New York is in the building. Come on, New York. Thank you for sharing, Jackie. Okay, so listen, before I get into it, I want you to grab your alive. Grab your alive. If you got you some alive, shake it up. Ooh, ooh, shake it up. We're going to take our shot this morning. I've got a long day today. I'm going to the Herpreneur retreat. I'm vending there. We're vending there. So we'll be in Destin, Fort Walton area this today. Well, actually, the rest of the week we'll be there. Sharing Alive and our other products and stuff, and meeting some amazing people. Great morning, Miss Veranda. Get your Alive together, girl. All right, all right. So listen, here's to being open to hearing what God says, being willing to act on what He says, and then being courageous enough to simply do what He says. Cheers. Oh my God. I love that. Oh my God, that's so good. I feel it coursing through my veins. Thank you. It's like an hour away, so it's not far. Baby, I poured you up. You're poured up. Okay. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, right? So, listen. Today is Thursday. Tuesday the 5th. God said, okay, I want you to go out to the beach. I didn't understand, but I just went. I did what He did. While I was out there, as the sun was coming up and I was watching the sun rise, I looked up and I saw what? The moon. And I could see the moon very clearly, and I knew that God said,
Thursday.
No, the 5th was Tuesday. Tuesday was Tuesday when I went to the beach. So I knew that God was talking. He said, okay, I'm taking you raw. And I said, you doing what? Because I don't like that. And that's what he did. That's what he said. I need this thing. Thank you. Oh, I thought you were looking at this. I need that one. Thank you, babe. But he knows what he's doing. So I noticed Tuesday and yesterday that I just was in a place that I didn't really want to do a lot of talking. I was doing a lot of introspection. God was really speaking to me about me. Like he's been dealing with me about me, right? Recognizing that 10 days would be the beginning of the new year, right? Understanding that there is a cleansing that God is doing in me and in those who will allow him, right? But I just, yesterday and the day before, I just was like, really looking at me, not really wanting to talk, not anybody else felt that like, it's like a funk, but you don't really understand where it's coming from. Like, it's not like anything has really happened, but you just were feeling a little like off, a little disconnected. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. Like in your own world, in your head about you, your life, like what's going on in your life, feeling a way about your goals and things that maybe you have been trying to do, and you're trying to figure out why it's not flowing or why things aren't happening. Like you just, it's just been off. April said, I've been there all week, not wanting to talk to anyone and going into a shell. Right. It's been very isolating. It's giving you isolate. That's what it's giving you. It's giving you alone. It's giving you just in your own world, right? So listen, this morning, I was talking to my sister, and she said, I keep hearing channels. I just hear channels. And I'm like, okay. She said, I just see God opening up channels. It's like he's trying to open up channels. Like she said, I see a river, but I see channels. Right, Corey. Hey, Lady Michelle. So listen, I'm like, okay, I can see that because I feel like some stuff is blocked. I feel like some stuff is like blocked, and I'm trying to figure out, well, what's going on? Check this out. So this morning after I talked to April, now April will tell you I ain't said nothing about this when we talked because it had not hit me. God said, see what phase the moon is in. And I said, okay. I'm Googling, what's the significance of the moon phase, or what phase is the moon in? And it said it's the last quarter moon, right? Last quarter moon. And I said, well, what's the significance of the last quarter moon? And I want y'all to check this out. See, when we understand that God has created the entire universe to work for us, and when we get in alignment with God and everything that he has established, to know what the patterns are, then we will understand what we need to do and when we need to do it. So check this out. So I said, well, what's the significance of the last quarter moon? Now we know the full moon, people talk about the full moon, but our body bodies, and I talked about this the other day, because April, remember I asked you, I said, well, what percentage of the body? It varies. People say between 60 to 70% of our body is water, right? And the moon affects water. It affects the tides, that's why the high tides are associated with the moon. Right? The moon affects water. God created the universe such that the moon affects water, and anything that contains water, which our body contains water, which means the moon affects our body. When you understand the cycles, you can recognize what's going on, and then you'll know how to move accordingly to address it. Okay? You're not crazy. You're not crazy. This is not random. All right? So the last quarter moon, listen. Listen, I want y'all to listen. With the last quarter moon, you're halfway between the full moon and the new moon. This is also known as the third quarter moon. We've approached a crossroads, having come so far, and yet still have a whole nother phase before the cycle is complete. During this phase, we're still in the mindset of reevaluating the previous cycle. We're beginning to come to terms with the fact that changes actually need to happen in order for us to expand. Babe, you should have checked the moon phase. Hey, Andrea, Philly in the house. Listen. Now check this out, because I want you to remember what I said about channels and blocks. I want you to remember that. Now is the time to unburden ourselves of those mental blocks, letting go of emotional baggage that is only weighing us down. We may feel tired, but instead of stopping, we can focus on moving forward more slowly than before. Ask yourself, how am I standing in my own way? Where to from here, and how? Literally, y'all, these are all questions. I'm like, okay, God, you're going to have to show me. I need guidance. You're going to have to direct me. Listen, if you're needing to express forgiveness, it will come up for you during the last quarter moon phase. Forgiveness is so important to healing. So please read this blog post if you're struggling with it. It's one on forgiveness. The last quarter moon meaning: forgiveness, emotional healing, releasing negativity, energy shifts, mindset shifts, removing roadblocks, and making slow progress. Slow progress is still progress. So don't despise slow progress. Don't feel like I'm not making any progress. I'm not doing anything. I might as well stop. No, you just slow down. It's a time to slow down. And I don't know about you all, but I'm telling you, I've been feeling major frustration with goals and accomplishing goals. But God has clearly slowed me down. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I was feeling the way about being slowed down. I was like, well, why isn't things moving? Why is stuff not happening? What's wrong with, who? What's wrong with who? What's wrong with me? See, so what we do is when we don't understand times and seasons, when we don't understand that stuff, we internalize it and we begin to think something is wrong with us. When really what it is just you got to understand the ebbs and flows. If you understand the ebbs and flows, you're not shocked by it. You can deal with it more effectively because you know what you need to be doing during this time. Honey, listen to me. And how about this? Guess when the new moon comes? September 14th and 15th is the new moon. Is the beginning of the new moon. What's also happening on the 15th? The beginning of the new year. You think all this is accidental? It's not. It's not. We have separated God's creation from the creator. We've done that. We have demonized the systems in the universe that he has put in place to provide us with guideposts, not to dictate. Not to dictate. See, where we mess up is we have an all or nothing view of stuff, right? You can't look at the stars. If you look at the stars, that's witchcraft. when clearly, listen to me clearly, the wise men found Jesus by following the star. If stars were not significant, a star would not have been used. I need y'all to hear me, because we have misunderstood God's word and we have cut ourselves off from really being able to understand and walk in fully the times and seasons of God. We cut ourselves off from the feasts and the festivals. We said that's Old Testament. We're under the dispensation of grace, and we don't need to pay attention to that. You don't have to, but when you do, my God, today, it will put you in the vein. I promise you, it'll put you in the vein, because God does not change. His times and his seasons don't change. Just because we change things, man changes things, does not mean God changed it. He did not. It's still the same. So it just means that we've allowed religion to take us off God's schedule. Now we on religion's schedule, but not God's. It's a problem with that, because it's always going to have you disjointed. And you're wondering why you can't fully maximize and fully operate in the things of God to completion. It's because we're disjointed. Our schedule, our calendar, our times, our seasons are all set by religion and man, and they're not in alignment with God. And then, check this out, we judge those who are in alignment with God's timing and seasons, because they're able to produce some things that we can't produce, but they don't even look at God like we look at God. But it's because God's laws are God's laws, and they change it not. They don't change. He don't care about what we change. It doesn't change his timing and his season. It just means we're off. It means we're disjointed. It means that and this is why I'm so sensitive to the voice of God, for him to tell me what he told me, knowing I had no interest in doing that. Anyone who knows me knows I like eating way too much. But it's also the area where God has been challenging me the most in this season, because he's trying to do some things in me that require my body to be in alignment with him. Now, what it's going to end up looking like, I don't know. But let me tell you this, whatever it looks like, it's going to look like. I'm at the point where I've done all that I can do, and I'm going with God. I'm going with God. I'm going with God. I just got to go with God. Okay. All right. So listen. My God. This is what it's like. Oh, I took that off and water just leaked everywhere. I wasn't even expecting water to still be in there like that. So this is what it's like. Okay. Here we are. Pretty empty vessel. There's a little water in there. Here we are, right? At this time of the moon cycle, right? We're here. Like, we got a little water in us, we can sustain a little while longer, but it's low, right? And it's like we're trying to get God to pour into us with the top on. Why? Because we're out of alignment. But when we understand what's going on, the top comes off, because knowledge, illumination, and truth is what unlocks and unblocks God's flow in our life. So now when we pour, we're able to get something out. And now we know when the next bottle comes up, we know, I need to take the top off in order to be in flow, right? Now, once we get the flow from God, see, this is another problem we have. We don't have the flow from God, but we trying to still pour out and give and all of that. And now we exhausted. That was me. We exhausted because we pouring out and we giving and we doing this and we doing that, but we ain't got no flow. Our flow is shut down. It's not flowing the way, it ain't shut all the way down. We got a little bit, but we don't nearly have what we should have or could have if we just take the top off. Take the top off so that we can understand, so that it can be illuminated to us what God is saying and doing. Now that we've gotten God's flow, we're able to open up Open up. We're able to open up because what God is doing in your life requires you to open up, be vulnerable. If the spout is not exposed, it can't be used. Can't drink out of it like this. It can't like that. Listen, I can turn it all the way upside down and it still ain't coming out. Do you understand what I'm telling you? It has to be opened up. We have to be opened up so that God can now use us. And guess what? What for us required a pour, we can drink up right. And it's filtered. My God. Let me tell y'all something. We've missed so much. We've missed so much. Religion and tradition has caused us to miss so much because we have left our spiritual growth in the hands of people who have done the best they could, but they could only give you what they knew. Now we want to sit back and hold someone else responsible for our spiritual growth, knowledge, and understanding, but we are not doing any work. And that is not the way it works. That's not it. You've got to assume responsibility for your spirituality, for your spiritual growth, for your relationship with God. Keep sitting back waiting on somebody else to feed you. You've been in this too long for that. Keep sitting back being disconnected from the universe that God created for us. Do you not understand that? Like he created the entire universe for us. The whole universe for us. To guide us. To show us. For us to understand what we need to do and when we need to do it to be in alignment with God. So what we do is we fight against the times and seasons of God. So now we mad because we're slowed down, not understanding that that's what happens in the last quarter phase of the moon because we need to slow down long enough to reassess things, to reevaluate things, to check ourselves, to let go of any negativity, any negative energy, to shift our mindset where it needs to be shifted, to allow ourselves to forgive anyone we need to forgive, including ourselves, so that we can move into the new moon and the new year unencumbered by that stuff, not weighed down from it, not blocking channels that God is trying to release through. But that's new age. Every freaking thing that is outside of religious tradition is new age. And what I'm telling y'all is this ain't new age, this is God age. God been set these things in play. This is not new. The difference is, scripturally, people understood because of farming, listen to me, people understood seasons, the moon phases, the importance of different times of the year. God established memorials for a reason. There's a reason that he established the feasts at the time that he established them. There was always a reason, and it's always going to be connected, not just to the experiences of the children of Israel, but it will be connected to the entire universe. The sun, the moon, the stars, everything is in alignment. There's a reason that everything happens when it does. Our problem is we've looked at things as different systems. These are different systems. There's the God system, and then there is the astrological moon system, right? They're two different systems, but God created the stars, the moon, and the patterns. God created the seasons. God created all of that. So what you're telling me is God created a system that we're not supposed to examine or deal with, or, we're only supposed to deal with what makes sense in the natural spiritual thought process. Like, that's what we're supposed to do. And what I'm telling you is what I've discovered for me, you got to discover for your own self, is that everything that God created works together for me. Everything that God created is designed to help me understand me, what's going on with me, what I need to be doing and don't need to be doing, and when I need to do it and when I don't need to do it. And I need to operate in that. Everything is coming back full circle. Because let me tell you something. The old folks used to say, listen, the old folks used to say, this is when you get a haircut. No, you cut hair here. You go fishing here. Like literally that almanac. That almanac? Oh, they use that almanac. Do you know what the almanac is? It is a system that is established on the patterns of the moon. Baby, let me tell y'all something. I don't know about y'all, but I grew up in the country. And I remember we had an almanac. An almanac. Each year, they got an almanac for the whole year. Hold on, I know this ain't nothing but God, because it's been a long time since I thought about a doggone almanac. Hold on. Hold on. Almanac. Listen. Listen. The almanac provides long-range weather forecasts for the year. Listen to me. Now, y'all do what y'all want to. But God is trying to get us to stop moving in the right now, but to really understand the reach. To really understand the reach. You understand? Yes, Miss Verenda. Rena said, all you saying is on point. Use the tools of the universe. Absolutely. My mom used to plant seeds according to the moon phases. She had an almanac too. But we done got away from that. We got industrialized and religiousized. And we said, oh, we don't need this is why the remedies that the old folks used worked. And it wasn't, we thought that it was, that's just old, what do we call it? Oh my goodness, what is it that we called it? They're like old remedies, like that stuff don't really work. So we thought we were being more advanced by going to the doctors who were practicing medicine and not using the proven methods and techniques of the old folks. Because for whatever reason, they worked. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I can remember my mama and them telling me, had that baby touching old wives' tales. Yes. Even in psychology, they try to say, that stuff, that's not real. That's da-da-da-da-da. Baby, let me tell you something. When they said, have a baby, get a brand new carton of eggs, have the baby touch the egg, and whichever egg the baby touches, take that egg. Don't touch it. Only let the baby's hands touch it. Take a spoon, put it in a sock, and hang it over the baby's bed where the baby sleeps. And what'll happen is it'll help making them cutting teeth flow easier. We think we know everything. We don't need, then we mad because the kids are struggling with cutting teeth. I don't know what it is about that process, but I promise you there is something scientific in that process. There's something scientific about that. Listen, I don't know what it is, but I know that when that baby was through cutting teeth, that egg was completely dried up and it had no odor. It never smelled like a rotten egg. It had no odor and it was completely dried up when that baby finished cutting them teeth. Yes, Lisa. Brush the baby down to help them learn to walk. Come on now. Listen. But we said, we know better than that. We know better than that. Look, they didn't always understand exactly why, but what they knew was that it worked. If you take a drop of alcohol and you put it on the baby's gums, right? Listen, what does it do? It numbs the gums. Just rub it on their gums, right? That's the same thing as using the darn stuff we go buy in the store. That stuff has an alcohol content in it. Did y'all know that? The numbing stuff has alcohol content in it. See, this is why they use Listerine. Listerine kills germs. Now we started using Scope. Scope don't do what Listerine does. I'm talking about the old-fashioned yellow Listerine. Not the new minty flavor Listerine. No, the old-fashioned yellow Listerine. You all, God is trying to help us understand why things happen when they happen, the way they happen, so that we can be aware and choose. Yes, baby Origin, absolutely, babe. Corey said, I learned Benjamin Banneker was a Black man who invented the almanac during Black history when I was little. Come on. Donnell said, I got my yellow gold Listerine. Jackie said, I can remember having mumps and my mom rubbed my face with the oil from sardines. Listen. Listen, y'all. God is trying to reconnect us with the universe. The church got us scared to say the word universe because that's new age. Oh, that's that universe. That's new age. Got us moving away from manifesting. Oh, that's new age. How are we going to manifest the promises of God if we can't even say freaking manifest? Because that's new age. That's removing God from the equation. No, but God has given us the ability to be creators. Like literally. We are gods with a lowercase g, and because we don't know that, we're scared to say that because we don't want nobody to think that we're trying to be God. No, we ought to be gods. We ought to be. We ought to show up like God, as God, in the being and the form of a God. Why? Because that's how he created us, in his image and in his likeness. Rena said, Jesus did work under the moonlight, understanding the times and the seasons and nature, growing our own food. Yes, 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 and yes. So today, listen, see, This period leading up to the new year is a period of cleansing. It's a period of cleansing. It's time to cleanse. Cleanse your body, cleanse your house, cleanse your life. It's a time to let go of things that don't work. It's a time to really evaluate self and take responsibility for self. Angel number 155. To really evaluate self and take responsibility for self and make the necessary changes. It's a time to ask for forgiveness and not just give forgiveness, but to ask for forgiveness when we've been out of order, out of line, not functioning the way that God has called us to function, like all of that. So we have to understand that all of that is in alignment with the times and the seasons of God. And when we do it in the appropriate time, it has an accelerated effect. Remember, I told y'all at the beginning of the month, the first 15 days of the month, like up to the 15th, you were going to see accelerated manifestation. It's because when you do the work, God's going to produce. And it requires illumination. We see, listen to this. Jesus said, and greater works than these shall you do. How is it that we're going to do greater work? Because we don't believe we can do anything Jesus did. How is it that we're going to do greater work? We first got to understand who we are. We second got to understand the power that we possess, right? And third, we got to be willing to do the work. Jesus said that we can do greater works than him. Now, he healed the sick, made the blind to see, the lame to walk. Listen, Jesus did all the, raised the dead. Listen, Jesus did all of that, right? Today, if Jesus did that, y'all know what we would call him? A warlock. We would say Jesus was a warlock. Beelzebub. A prophet of Baal. Doing witchcraft. When he spit in the dirt, rubbed it together, put it on the man's eyes, we would have said that was a spell. He was casting spells. That's what we would say. That's what the church would say. Am I lying, y'all? If you see somebody in the church spit in some dirt, say, bring me some dirt in here. They spit in and stirred it up and put it on somebody's eyes. What y'all gonna say? He's spooky. But y'all worried about what people are going to say in the church, right? And I came to tell you that you can't be worried about what people say in the church. This is why when people ask me, well, what about the people who say, listen, this is why I had to get and have to remind myself to keep an I don't care attitude when it comes to people who are ignorant of truth. Not just ignorant, but they're just ignorant of truth. It's just things they don't know. And we think anything that we don't know and we're not familiar with is strange. And anything that we see that's strange inside the church, we call witchcraft. We say that it's new age when God is the one who created absolutely everything. And I don't know why we keep giving the devil credit for things that God created. The problem is the enemy has taught people to use it. And the church is not. Because the church, y'all gonna have to be mad at me today. But the church has historically been used as a tool of control throughout the ages. The church has been used as a tool of control, and those in leadership in the church have been used to manipulate the minds of the masses. I said it. It doesn't mean that at every church this is what happens. It doesn't mean that every leader does this, but I'm saying historically that's what the church has been used for, particularly in the African American community. The slave masters, the white people would have certain people that they would put their stamp on who had an assignment. The same thing happens in the music industry. There's certain people who they put their stamp on to control the masses of the people. When you can control the minds of certain people, then you can control the masses, those who have influence over the masses, because the masses tend not to think for themselves. And y'all mad at these young people, but these young people are exposed to way too much to believe some of the foolishness that we try to convince them is true. They actually read more than we give credit for. And if they don't read it, they're on YouTube and they're exploring and they're digging deeper, right? Now, I know, people say, oh, YouTube, da, 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 da. Listen, everything that you want to know something about is on the tube of you. So these kids at a very early age understood the power of Google and YouTube. They started Googling things. They started listening to things that were outside of the norm. And then you want to put them in a box and be mad at them because they're not following the regularly scheduled programming, but they know that it's programming. They're bucking against programming. We think they're just bucking against us because they don't want to have any kind of discipline. Some of them may not, but some of it is like the lies that we were told they're not buying. And they're not buying it much earlier than it happened for us, if we even are at that point. Because some of us are still believing a lot of the lies. They're not content with just following what's in 66 books of the Bible when they know there are more books. Because then they're saying, well, why aren't the other books read? Or why don't we know anything about the other books? Or why are the other books not being taught or talked about? And what we say is, well, as long as you can get what's in these 66 that was chosen, they were chosen at Council of Needs. They chose those 66 books. And if they chose those 66 books, then my question is, why did they choose them if we know? Listen to me. If we know that the church was used to manipulate the masses, and control the minds of the masses. And what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying throw your Bible away, I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is, at some point, if you're going to walk in the fullness of God, then you need to assume responsibility for educating yourself. And you need to look beyond the 66, because there are more books than that. There are more books than that. And they're referred to in the 66 books. If y'all ever wondered why there are books referred to in the 66 books that ain't in the 66? And we can say, oh, they didn't have room. The Bible pretty darn thick. No, there's more than that. There was a strategic reason those books were excluded. There's a strategic reason why the things that we deal with there's a strategic reason behind all of it. Corey said, but we normalize the ungodly in church. Rena said that they turned the medicine woman into a witch so nobody would go to her and they would go to modern medicine. And the things that they did in modern medicine to people of color in the sake under the name of experimentation is atrocious. Everything they know about women and childbirth, listen, they did on Black women who were slaves. I need y'all to understand that. So when we talk about the speculum, when we talk about, cesarean, like they did so much to Black women. They did so much under the name of medicine that we run to. But we won't look at natural medicine, naturopathy. We want to know, did the people that are making us sick approve what we taking? Why would they approve anything that would heal you? Heal, not provide relief from some symptoms and create other problems. But I'm talking about heal your body, because God created our bodies to be naturally healing. They're willing to do the research. Yes, they are. Prophetess Tammy said, the book of Jasper. They have a Berean spirit. Be willing to search a matter out. Yes. Oh, have a Berean spirit. Be willing to search a matter out. Yes. Thank you, beautiful. G said, I wish my generation was exposed to this information. Right. And now we are. Now we are. They have conspired to try to wipe us out. Psalm 84 tells us that. And when you begin to understand angel number 166, that who they say are the children of Israel are not the original children of Israel. When you understand why they said Jesus had hair like wool, skin like bronze, when you begin to understand that stuff and then understand the rhetoric that it doesn't matter, well, if it doesn't matter, why is it not taught? If it doesn't matter, why have we allowed certain images to permeate society and present him as Michelangelo's drunk uncle? That image that people have up on the walls of churches and houses was Michelangelo's drunk uncle that posed for that portrait and was used as the representative of Jesus, his drunk uncle. All designed to create an image of God that was disconnected from people who look like us, people of color, period. The oppressor will use all tools and institutions to hold hostage and in bondage those that it desires to hold in bondage. What do you think is happening in the state of Florida right now? They have perverted history to make it seem like slaves benefited from slavery. Oh, white people did black people a favor, African people a favor by enslaving them and taking them from their native land and bringing them here to be in bondage and build this country. Educational systems are designed to produce employees, workers, manual labor, keep us in bondage, and fill prisons for profit. That's what the educational system is for. And I'm glad I'm saying this because I would wager that DeSantis, ain't that his name? The governor of Florida. If he doesn't, he has family or is connected to people who own interest in prisons. Because what that rhetoric does is then it's going to make the prison be a place that is helping. It benefits people. So we've got to wake up. There's a whole plot to wipe us out. And we won't grow. We won't grow. We won't grow. We won't grow. Jackie talking about, I call him Satan. Listen, we won't grow. God is trying to perfect us. Trying to perfect us, not make us perfect, because that's the other lie, that you got to be perfect. No, the perfecting of the saints is the maturing of the saints, the growing up of the saints. It doesn't mean that you have no flaw. It doesn't mean that you don't have any issues. It means that you're maturing. But because we don't understand the power of times and seasons, we don't understand how to create lasting change. So we're trying to create change in seasons when it's not the change season. And so we're constantly struggling and battling. And because we're battling in certain times trying to create change and it's not sticking, we say, oh, I can't change. No, you're doing your work at the wrong time. You got to align your efforts at the right time to produce lasting change. G said some of us is just stuck. Yeah, because we're not paying attention. God has given us everything we need to create change in our life. Everything we need. When we get in alignment with God, his times and his seasons, then we'll begin to see the fruit of our labors. This one might not be popular, but it's true. People in the church might not like it, but it's the truth. This is why I don't get stuck on what people in the four walls think, because I come to uproot religious spirits with what? Truth. And truth is uncomfortable because it shakes the very foundation of everything that you've ever believed. Change has to happen at the right time. Y'all, I'm telling you, when you begin to apply the right actions at the right time, it'll produce right results. My God, today, when you begin to apply the right actions at the right time, it'll produce the right results. We keep swimming upstream. We keep bucking against times and seasons instead of using them for what they're for, to help us propel, to help us to become who God created us to be. My zodiac sign does not determine who I am, but it does let me know of some things about me that I need to be aware of so that I can know about me, so that I can know what I need to do and what I need to look at and what I need to be aware of. What is going to show up as a potential problem in my life throughout my life? What are my strengths? What are my challenges? If you don't know your challenges, then you don't know how to deal with them. We say, I'm a new creature in Christ. Why are you still doing the same stuff if you're a new creature in Christ? Then you mad at people because they're not changing. Because you told them that when they accepted Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, they were automatically a new creature and everything changed for them instantaneously. Yes, spiritually, yes, there was a change, but there is a work that must be done. There has to be growth. Angel number 166. Let me look this up. Angel number 166. It's your chance to win because you have put yourself in the best position to become someone different. Bears a message that you need to be orderly and more organized. There are benefits you stand to gain by using a practical, approach in dealing with family issues. If you value your family, you will take the message of angel number 166 to heart. This is because it guides you to make your family stable, secure, and happy. It bears the promise that your angels want nothing but the best for you. They want you to live your life to the fullest. That's why seeing angel number 166 just about everywhere you go, through this sign, your divine guides are trying to tell you something concerning your life. They're drawing attention to some of the stellar qualities that you possess. When you keep seeing this sign, your divine guides are assuring you that you will never walk alone. They will hold your hand and gently guide you on this journey of life. They will provide you with the answers to some of the toughest questions in your life. This is what happens when you are in the good books of the universe. You never have to worry unnecessarily about your future. Why? You know that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Every single thing that happens. When the vibrations of angel number 166 hit your life, you'll see the need to nurture your relationship. Prophetess Tammy said, I believe that God is the maker of the alignment of the stars. He set the celestial in the places set. Yes. Yes. Be one with the word, the universe. We get it twisted. And because we get it twisted, and we've allowed religion to twist it, we are out of alignment with God. Now, there are some who will say that I am a false prophet. But what I would tell you is try the spirit by the spirit and see if it be of God. That's what the word says. Examine the fruit. That's what the word says. And fruit is not just how you look or what you say. It's what does your life produce? It's how do you treat people? It's how do you make people feel? And what happens in the lives of the people who are connected to you? If I don't look like church, that's a great thing to me. I don't want to look like church. I want to look like God. And Jesus didn't look like church. He didn't look like the temple. He didn't look like the Pharisees. He looked like the opposite. But the fruit of his life produced empowerment in the lives of the people that he was connected to. It produced change in them. And they in turn produced change in the lives of others. And they produced change in the lives of others. Notice Jesus never tried to control the disciples. Did you notice that? Even when he knew what Peter was going to do, what Judas was going to do, what the other disciples were going to do, he never tried to control them. Even when he knew the outcome. But he did let them know that he knew the outcome. He knew what they were going to do. He let them know that. But he didn't try to stop them from doing it. But he did tell them. That's why when Jesus denied him the third time and the cock crowed, he was like, whoa, Jesus said that. We got to get to a place where we take our spiritual life personally, that this is personal for us, that we ask God to guide us. You ain't got to go into everything all at once. Ask God to guide you. He'll guide you to what you need right now. She said, for some reason, our people just follow blindly because they're afraid of change. No, they're afraid of responsibility. They don't want to be responsible for themselves and their spiritual growth. It's easier to let somebody else do the work. It's easier to say, my pastor said, Dr. V said, than it is to seek God for yourself. To ask God questions. Because I promise you, I wasn't thinking about no moon the other day. And God said, look up. And the moon was sitting there so clearly. And then this morning when he said, check the phase of the moon. It's not something I regularly do. It's not. Y'all, I'm telling you, God is shifting me and shifting patterns. Rena said, I just told someone yesterday, our people move in fear and myths. Absolutely. Go get the truth. Get the truth. Get the truth. Listen, I pray that you got what you needed today. You're not crazy if you've been in a place where you feel off or you feel isolated or you're thinking about things that are not working in your life and you're seeing things in you that you don't like and those things are being revealed to you. No, it's not that you're a horrible person. It's not that something is wrong with you. It is that God is trying to prepare you to move into this new year. Letting go of the things that are not effective in your life, letting go of the things that don't work, and letting go of the things that are not like him. If we can accept that for what it is and not internalize it and personalize it and make it mean that something is wrong with us, instead understand that it is an opportunity for us to grow and to evolve and become more of the us that we were created to be, then we can stop resisting and fighting what God is doing in this season. I encourage you to do so. I encourage you to listen to the voice of God, to explore you and understand you, to understand times and seasons and get in alignment with God in his times and his seasons. Not religions, but God's. Listen. This week, for these next 10 days, I'm not going to ask you guys for an offering. I'm not going to say, if you want to sow a seed, you can sow a seed. I'm not saying that, okay? This is a season where God is really requiring people to really examine themselves for themselves, right? And to really move with the unctioning of the Spirit of God without prompting. So don't be surprised when you don't see it. I'm not putting it up. If you want to sow, you're going to have to look for it, right? Listen, I'm telling y'all, God is doing something different in us in this season. And this is a season of heart. It's a season of heart. He's checking our heart. He's checking our hearts. So as God is examining your heart, you examine your heart. Do the work. Recognize the time and the season and let God be God. Listen, I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Have an absolutely amazing, incredible, and epic day. Know that you are enough. You're more than enough. You're fearfully and wonderfully made, and he who began a good work in you is faithful and just to bring it to completion until the coming of Christ Jesus. You guys be blessed. Mwah.